All right, guys, I think we're live here. Just give me one quick second. Hold on. All right, it says we're on. Let me just double check. Come on, phone, let's go. Well, it says we're on here, so I'm just gonna start rolling. I can't really tell. There we go. I think we're live now. There we go. Friends, welcome back to another live session. Super excited and grateful that you are here. And I definitely listen to all your comments. So for those of you that subscribe and tell me, Mike, on these live streams, you talk too fast. I'm gonna do everything I can to slow it down today and not be too crazy. So we're gonna talk about leptin and adiponectin. I'm gonna share with you some results of studies and things, mechanisms that I've been looking into for a long time. You see, back in, 2011, 2012, when I was writing a lot and researching a lot for the book Belly Fat Effect, which is published about 5 years ago now, I got so excited about leptin because I learned a lot of things about leptin that I wasn't hearing anywhere else. And still, 5 years later, a lot of people are forgetting this. And it doesn't mean that I'm some smart, crazy person that I made these new discoveries. What it means is that a lot of people focus so much on leptin and how it affects appetite, satiety, but there's a whole other aspect about leptin in regards to your immune system that can ultimately affect your body. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about different strategies that you can use right here, right now to affect leptin levels and why it's important that you understand your leptin levels and possibly change or do different things to modify them. So this is a study that there's been 3 or 4 different studies that have shown that high leptin levels, low ghrelin levels going into a weight loss intervention leads to weight regain after the weight loss. So we all know people that go on diets, they look great. They change whatever it is that they're doing, they change their diet, they change their exercise program, they lose some weight, and then guess what happens? A year later, 18 months later, they regain the weight and more. And it's like, what's going on with that? So hopefully after this discussion, you'll have better insights into how leptin not only regulates your appetite, but affects the immune system and why that is important. So am I doing a good job of kind of talking slower than normal? I'm really struggling here trying to slow it down. And I don't want to be too slow and too boring. But hopefully this pace is good. If it is, hit that like button, type in a comment below. And if you're new to our lives, shout out your name because I go back and re-look in the comment and chat bar because I want to get to know you. We have we have a great community here on our YouTube channel. I'm very grateful for all of you for subscribing, for being here. And part of that, friends, is I want to give you a promotion, a little offer, a little incentive for coming here live is if you use a promo code LEPTIN, Leptin, over at MYOXCIENCE.com, you can save 22% off on some new great formulas. We have a new krill oil that's ICOS certified, International Krill Oil Standards Group. We're going to talk more about that in a minute, but that is below here, guys, and gals. So it looks like quite a few of you are here and you're commenting, which is great. Awesome. So let's just dive into it. One of the things that I really hope to kind of convey to you throughout this conversation is that leptin is very intimately involved in associated with inflammation, not only just obesity, right? And so this is the important thing that you need to understand. The more overweight you become, the more inflamed you become. And a lot of people just focus on losing weight through calorie deficits, through over-exercise, but they don't address the inflammation that's in their body. And this is why I think understanding leptin will help you to understand and differentiate and custom tailor your weight loss approaches to simultaneously not only focus on, maybe creating mild calorie deficits affecting your hormones, but addressing the inflammation, friends. This is very, very important. And so I want to just share with you just a few studies that have shown, here's another one. Let's see, is this adiponectin? That's adiponectin. What I wanted to share with you is this one right here. And so this kind of shows, this will give you a little primer as to where we're going here when we talk about adiponectin, when we talk about leptin. As you see on this particular slide, leptin is not just affecting appetite and satiety. It's affecting, first of all, it does a lot of things within the immune system. Now keep in mind, when you have adipose tissue, when you're overweight or obese or skinny fat, right? You don't have to be visibly, this is what's crazy, is there's a lot of people out there, about 20 to 25% of all adults are visibly lean. They look lean, but on the inside, they're literally dying on the inside because they're metabolically obese. We call this normal weight metabolically obese, okay? Or on the streets, if you will, we call this skinny fat. Who here knows of someone that is skinny fat? Raise your hand or type in the comment bar below. You can probably think about a colleague, a coworker, someone you went to college with, a high school friend, and they say, I can eat whatever I want. I don't have to diet, right? And they're the ones where you're like, well, yeah, but you know, I've seen you in your bikini or your swimsuit, and although you don't look overweight, like you have no muscle mass, and we know deep down in their organs, in their viscera, in their pancreas, even in their brain, their muscle, there's ectopic lipid deposition, right? So we're not in this conversation when we talk about excessive body weight and everything like that. We're not just talking about obese people. We're not just talking about visibly overweight people. 20% of quote unquote lean people have too much leptin going on because their fat cells are releasing this pleiotropic adipocytokine. Let's break that down. It's complex, but this is kind of a cool word. Next time you're like hanging out with health friends and they talk about leptin and talk about leptin resistance, you can say, well, there's a little bit more to leptin resistance. It's a pleiotropic adipocytokine. And we'll bust out the whiteboard right now. It's a good time to transition to talk about what really that means. And again, the whole point here is to help you address the inflammatory side in your body, because you probably have the calories, the macros, and all that fixed. So many people, I mean, relatively figured out, I should say, not fixed. I get so many direct messages, comments on this YouTube channel saying, I'm fasting, doing keto, I'm exercising, but the weight's not coming off. Okay, so here's why it's important, again, this pleiotropism of leptin. So here's your fat cells. These are just little adipocytes right here. I'm sure you can all see these. And actually, let me check on my phone, because last time you guys were like, Mike, the whiteboard is cut off. How dare you do this to us? All right, you can see this, which is great. Thanks for your comments, guys. I'm not being sarcastic. So here's your fat cells, okay? When you gain weight, okay, what happens is 2 or 3 things. Guess what? Your fat cells get bigger, they enlarge. Not only do they get bigger, but they start releasing stuff. So fat is not inert. It's very metabolically and immunologically active. Okay, so you gain the freshman 15, you gain 10, 20 pounds over the holiday season. You don't work out over summer because you're barbecuing and drinking, whatever, right? So your fat cells look small, less inflamed, and they get bigger over time. Now, check this out, guys. This happens as early as age 6, okay? So if you've been overweight your entire life, and this is what Jason Fung and I talked about, here I am talking fast again. This is what Dr. Jason Fung and I spoke about during the last interview that I published in April of 2018, is how there's this recidivism, and individuals that are overweight as children tend to become overweight as adolescents and adults, right? And so this happens starting at age 6 years old, where we see this, what we call like a histological, a morphological or physiologic change within the physical properties of the adipocytes. So they start releasing more cytokines. One of these cytokines, I'm gonna write an L here. I know you can see that. Ooh, it's getting bright. The sun is coming in right now, and I might have to change I'm gonna change something on the camera here. I'm sorry, I normally don't do this midstream, but the sun is setting, and I could just see it getting super, super bright, and I don't want you guys to miss anything. All right, so you get overweight, your fat cells become enlarged. Not only do they become enlarged, but you get more and more fat cells. Now, here's the thing. You might want to write this down. Leptin is released from your fat cells. So the more fat cells you have, the more leptin you will be releasing. It's a one-to-one relationship, right? And so this is where, if we were to draw the brain over here, I'm just going to draw, let's just put B for brain, because I'm, as you know, not a good drawer. The more leptin that's coming up here, the receptors become down-regulated, just like when there's a lot of insulin floating around, okay? The analogy that this medical doctor taught me a long time ago in 2008, she made this analogy, Alicia Stanton, I think she's in Connecticut somewhere. She talks about if you were to order Amazon Prime or Domino's Pizza, and 200 pizza men came to your door, you wouldn't let any of them in. You'd be like, what the hell are y'all doing? Like, I just ordered 1 pizza, not 200, right? Your receptors do the same thing. So when there's a little bit of leptin around, the brain, and by the way, as we stream this live right now around 4:45, our leptin levels I'm fasting today, and I hope you are for Metabolic Monday, but normally during the day. And then that obviously that will trigger inhibition of food cravings. But for a lot of people, when they have a lot of fat tissue, okay, so this is what I call leptin 1.0. We're going to talk about leptin 2.0 in just a moment, okay? And just a small plug, guys, I do have a full leptin blueprint on my website. So if you go to my leptin blueprint course for free, and so I would recommend, we have a new krill oil, we have a new probiotic that has been clinically studied featuring Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis. There's a lot of great stuff here. So the hypothalamus in the brain is like not listening to that message anymore. So then we're always hungry, we're always craving. That's leptin 1.0, okay? I want to talk to you today about leptin 2.0 because I'm not kidding you, and I'm not picking on it. I haven't seen anyone talk about this. This is leptin 2.0, okay? It's important because if you don't address the inflammation in your body, it's going to be hard to lose the body fat. And a small plug for Casino, the ketones, beta-hydroxybutyrate, and possibly acetoacetate affect this NLRP3 inflammasome in your body, which is a major pro-inflammatory signaling hub. 2.0, Mike with his sloppy handwriting. So we just talked about how leptin affects appetite and satiety. That's leptin 1.0. Leptin 2.0 is how really, really important, guys. So check this out, right? You have this teeter-totter in your body, okay? So under the inflammatory arm, you have different T helper subsets, different macrophages, different various pro-inflammatory signaling cells, and so on. So let's just right here, I'm gonna draw TH17, I'm gonna draw TH1, I'm having too much body fat. And again, I'm not picking on overweight people, I'm not picking on obese people. There is visibly lean individuals who are skinny fat that have the same problem, okay? That's why sometimes we see people that are like, you know, you hear the guy who's, oh, he was so lean, he was a runner, and he had a heart attack and died at 54 or you know, at 45, or they had cancer, or they had IBS, right? So of lean people are skinny fat, okay? Leptin downregulates the Treg cells within your immune system. The pro-inflammatory cells, and if you have children around, you might pro-inflammatory signaling pathway after pro-inflammatory signaling pathway. This is, again, for those of you, oh, I get an alert saying my feed is not good. Come on. What's up with that? Come on, Comcast, get it together. All right, it says we're back now. Huh. I hope you guys can see me because, you know, we were just having a lot of fun. And let me, guys, so sorry. Hey, Deanna, how's the feed? Come on, Comcast, let's pull it together here. I'm so sorry, friends. This is really a bugger. Oh, Jude. All right, it says it's getting better. I'm gonna watch the feed. I'm so grateful that you said something because that's annoying. So I really, really apologize. If you need me to go back, let me know. I might have to downgrade the speed to 720 because it's not working and I'm on 5G. So I'm gonna have a little chat here with our friends over at Comcast because we're paying good money for this. Oh geez, it is buffering like crazy. What's going on with this? All right, so you guys are telling me it's better now. Okay, so keep this in mind, right? Too much body fat, too much leptin. What that creates is pro-inflammatory signaling switches within the body, like driving various even enzymatic processes, converting aromatase. There's links with metastatic breast cancer. Let me show you another study here. You know, there's a lot of different research on this one here. So this is C-reactive protein. So leptin is linked with C-reactive protein. It looks like we're back. Now it's better. What a bummer, guys. I hope it doesn't go back out again. I'm watching the feed here, so if it does, I'll pause and then we can get to it. But as always, I'm so grateful that you're here, that you're sticking this out. Man, why can't we get this thing working properly? so that's what's going on here. So leptin is pro-inflammatory. So it does there's a lot of things going on here. Now, what I want to kind of help you better understand, because we focus a lot about insulin and how insulin is involved in, affecting fat storage and all this. But if you look here on this graph here, this is from Eric Braverman. This was he tracked over 5,000 patients. And basically what he found is that leptin actually very positively correlates with body fat, whereas insulin is all over the place. So I definitely suggest that you get your leptin levels tested. And the easiest way to do that is what's going on with the fucking Wi-Fi, man?
Are you still live?
Give me it. God, Nez is watching a TV game. That's why. All right, I just turned. I think we should be good. So I am so sorry for this connectivity issues. We got a bunch of you guys here still, so I don't even know where to start. Good presentation, so forth. Yeah. So John has a good point. He says, leptin is involved in mold sensitivity. So yeah, Richie Shoemaker has been talking about that for quite a while. So we're back here. So let me just because the feed, and I know you guys watch the replay are going to be like so annoyed with this, and I really apologize, but I cannot control Comcast. So just to reiterate what we talked about, leptin is a pleiotropic adipocytokine, meaning it does a lot of different things. In the context of leptin 1.0, what leptin does is it affects appetite and satiety, okay? Leptin levels should be lowest about midday, about noon. That's when you should eat and refeed. Obviously on days like Metabolic Monday, thanks to all of you that participated in Metabolic Monday, what we do is we fast every single Monday for at least 24 hours. Some of us are doing 36 hours. I'm personally not doing 36 hours right now because I'm doing a powerlifting competition in May and I want to do well in that, right? So too much food restriction affects your power output. That's fairly obvious, okay? But in leptin 2.0, which we talked about, and I think I was talking about that when the feed got messed up, we know that leptin affects these cells called the T regulatory cells, which I have featured right here. So we're back, it looks like the feed is good. Remember, your immune system has a set of checks and balances, and it has a way of policing its own self from driving inflammation, driving autoimmunity. So the difference between someone that has lupus and someone that doesn't have lupus is essentially an aberrant, there's multiple reasons and etiologies and pathophysiologic abnormalities in autoimmunity, but most autoimmunities, there's a dearth or a lack or a dysfunction in the T regulatory cells. So what happens is we have the pro-inflammatory cells run amok and they're creating inflammation. They're driving inflammatory processes. They're releasing pro-inflammatory cytokines that are causing tissue destruction. Many people complain about hypothyroidism. They have Hashimoto's. Their thyroid labs look normal, but they still feel ill because their thyroid gland is being attacked by their own immune system, right? So the T regulatory cells are so important, friends. You need to have these around. It's not just about looking good on the beach. It's about living vibrantly throughout life and having vitality. And so the T regulatories help you with vitality because inflammation happens with age, whether you like it or not. There's a phenomenon called inflammaging, and that just means as we get older, we become more inflamed. And so that's why I'm so excited about promoting metabolic science, helping you guys learn how to burn more fat for fuel, because part of what lean people who are metabolically flexible, they have low leptin levels and they have high functions of T regulatory cells. So what leptin does is it renders the T regulatory cells dysfunctional. Does that make sense? So even what's interesting, well, let's go back, and I think this is where the feed got cut off. So you start to gain your freshman 15, for example, you gain 15, 20 pounds over the course of a year. Your fat cells become more numerous, and also they enlarge. Enlarged fat cells start releasing visfatin, resistin, they release leptin, they release omentin. There's a lot of different adipocytokines released from fat tissue. And those adipocytokines, what they do they suppress the T regulatory cells, okay? Here's what's important about that, guys and gals. Here is what is important about that is there's a connection between inflammation and fatty acid oxidation. The more inflamed you are, the less likely you will be burning fat for fuel. So our immune cells, these are going to be considered protective immune cells. These are going to be considered pro-inflammatory immune cells. The T regulatory cells have a lot of mitochondria. They burn short-chain fatty acids and free fatty acids and fat for fuel, okay? So your immune system has this metabolic flexibility interwoven into it, whereas all these pro-inflammatory cells, they thrive on sugar. Check this out. Here's what's so crazy about the immune system. These cells, not only do they love sugar and thrive on sugar, but the molecules that they produce make you insulin resistant, furthering the sugar burning cascade. So it's a vicious freaking cycle, right? So you gain more fat, you release more leptin, your T regulatory cells go down, your pro-inflammatory immune cells go up. Those immune cells, not only do they love sugar, but the molecules that they make pivot your body into a sugar burning state. Like, it's a total vicious cycle. And so this is when I laugh when people talk about calories in, calories out. All you need to focus on is calorie deficits. Well, it's like, dumb. You don't understand. If you're releasing pro-inflammatory molecules that are causing your body to burn more sugar for fuel and not burn body fat and inhibit adipocyte lipolysis, how can you burn fat even if you're in a deficit? So a lot of these people, as well-intended as they may be, they don't understand this phenomenon known as immunometabolism. Now, I want to pause because we have quite a few of you on right now. I want to pause. And was that too complicated? Please just type in the comment bar right now, or you know, in the chat. Was this too complicated? I've been talking about this for a while now. I just want to check in and just check in with you guys. Did we cover that? Does it make sense? Do you understand now why keeping your leptin levels in check, why keeping your body's immune system in check actually helps you burn more fat for fuel? I'm trying to see if okay, someone says no, so we don't understand. No? Oh my gosh, so I didn't do a good job. Oh, now Frank says nope, good info. So you guys are saying no. Does it make sense, or do you get it? Do we need to explain it again? Or is it too complicated? Please let me know. I'm gonna pause. And for those of you watching the replay, this is where you get annoyed and you're like, dude, stop addressing the people that are live because I just wanna watch. And I'm gonna tell you to chill out because we have hundreds of people here. Okay, everyone says, no, it's good. They get it. I'm so excited. You all on here, I wanna thank you because I swear I've done these seminars for doctors all over the place. And at the end, they're like, well, I still don't know how this changes how I treat patients and what I do. And so again, here's where keto is exciting. So now that you understand, just to recap, I'm gonna say it again, just so you understand. As you gain more weight, your fat cells enlarge. Not only do they enlarge, but you get new fat cells. It's crazy. In my Leptin Blueprint course, which for those of you guys that are here, there's a promo code below. If you use that on MYOXCIENCE.com, you save 22.5% off, and guess what? You also get access to my Leptin Blueprint course, and I share with you the studies on this. If you gain like 10 pounds in a year, you get millions of new fat cells. And every single one of these fat cells, guess what? They release leptin, which is, and a myriad of other pro-inflammatory signaling adipocytokines like visfatin, omentin, resistin. There's a whole milieu of these different cytokines, right? These cytokines inhibit the T regulatory cells. They're there to protect all the other inflammatory immune cells from wrecking your own body. When the T regulatory cells are not around, all these pro-inflammatory immune cells go crazy. They release cytokines, they damage tissues, they create autoantibodies, they react to your DNA. They do a lot of crazy stuff. Not only do they damage your body physically, but the products they make inhibit insulin and they foster glucose utilization. So it almost becomes physiologically impossible to burn fat for fuel. Now, you might say, Mike, well, this sounds really kind of like mechanistically cool, but what do the human studies show? Check this out. You take someone that has like a 3rd-degree burn, right? So they're in the hospital, they have a lot of inflammation going on. Guess what? They're insulin resistant for up to 18 months, guys. 18 months. So this is, again, this intersection between metabolism and immunity. So because their body is inflamed, the body, and they have a massive burn, for example, right? They have a lot of damaged tissue. All this inflammation is going on, which is it's needed to repair. So the immune system, not only does it, combat bad guys and bugs and microbes and parasites and viruses, but the immune system is needed to repair damaged tissues. That's all good. But remember, because a 3rd-degree burn, there's extensive damage. So there's a lot of cytokines being released. Those cytokines inhibit insulin. So if you look at someone in a trauma center, they're insulin resistant. Their metabolic rate is increasing, but they're not burning fat for fuel. They're burning sugar because the immune system and these pro-inflammatory cells need the sugar. I'm glad you guys are typing this comment in. So check it out. So a lot of you have like a mild burn because you're inflamed. And this is a parallel, an analogy. A lot of you don't have quite the extensive inflammation as like someone that had a 3rd-degree burn, but a lot of us are running around and we're sedentary, we're inactive, we're eating pro-inflammatory foods, we've been overweight for a long time. So we're on this spectrum, right? So keep this in mind, 3rd-degree burn. So this would be like severity, let's just say, we'll just say degree. Let's just do, this is totally arbitrary units just for learning purposes, right? Let's just say it's 0 to 100, right? So this is 3rd-degree burn, you're in the trauma center. This is, we'll call this IS for insulin sensitivity. So I should actually draw it this way. But anyway, so this is gonna be 0 insulin sensitivity, this is gonna be 100. All right, fix it like that, right? So some people are kind of hanging out right here. Like you have inflammation, this is gonna be 3rd-degree burn right here, right? 3rd-degree burn. So very inflamed, you got in a massive car accident, your finger got cut off with a saw, whatever. Okay, so this is a lot of inflammation. Your insulin sensitivity is gonna be really poor because you're gonna be very inflamed. But this would be like, obesity. This could be, I haven't exercised in 3 months. This could be, I have an autoimmune disease. I'm depressed, I'm not sleeping, right? So some of us are kind of hanging out in here and we wonder why we can't burn fat for fuel. Again, part of that, it's not just calories in, calories out, guys. It's because your immune system is sending out messages that inhibit insulin's activity. Also, when you become inflamed, leptin is involved. Remember, it's linked with C-reactive protein. It's linked with the inflammatory response. These tissues of the body are all interconnected, right? Your immune cells are not too far away proportionally and distance-wise, proximity-wise in the body from your muscle tissue. And they're all interconnected. So that's the whole point. It's way beyond calories in, calories out. That's like just basic crap that we learned about from like the 1950s. I mean, this stuff wasn't known about. Actually, what was known about TNF alpha, check this out. TNF alpha is it used to be called cachectin because, and TNF alpha is released from all these different things because it, guess what? It catabolized muscle tissue. And in the video that I just posted just the other day, if you go to our YouTube channel, we talked about how ketones are anti-catabolic because they inhibit some of the pro-inflammatory messages from these cytokines. So, check in the feed again. Someone says menopause sucks. I hear ya. Gosh, women deal with so much, having kids, doing all this, and the hormone fluctuations. It's very complex, and I feel for you a lot. Just a small plug for our show sponsor, MYOXCIENCE.com. Again, if you want access to our leptin blueprint, if you want All right, you can hear me now. How long was it talking there with the volume out? That's so embarrassing. It looks like my microphone just died, which is a real bugger, but don't worry guys, I'll get the good microphone backed in. Mic'd up, I mean. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hold on, just give me a quick second. What I'm going to do is just turn this thing on and get it paired here. That was embarrassing. You know what? I love doing these lives with you guys, but man, it's like we got bandwidth issues, we got microphone batteries dying. This is becoming quite entertaining, to say the least. I'm sure some of you guys that are regulars are going to unsubscribe, and I would understand that, but I apologize. So now let's go back. We should have good audio. Again, so here we go. Whew. How long was it talking without a microphone? Man, that is not good. Take bets. Someone, Rob Bacon, take bets on how long before he catches. Dude, you guys. Oh, okay. Someone says you missed the ad. So what I was doing is just letting you know that these episodes, these lives are sponsored by our very own MYOXCIENCE Nutrition. So I created this company to provide you tools to help you optimize your own ability to burn fat for fuel. And I was saying below, there's a promo code Leptin, Leptin. If you use that over at MYOXCIENCE.com, that's MYOXCIENCE.com. You can save 22.5% off, but you get access to my Leptin blueprint. So hopefully we won't have any more snafus. But let's talk about adiponectin and some things that you should understand about some strategies that can affect leptin. So what's unique about adiponectin is, unlike leptin, leptin is pro-inflammatory. Adiponectin is anti-inflammatory. So let me just show you this slide right here. And so what you'll see it's on your left, I believe, adiponectin is anti-inflammatory and it promotes insulin sensitivity, which is really, really important for you all to kind of understand here about the sensitivity. So let's talk about what studies are showing about adiponectin is as individuals become more overweight. So if we just say body weight increases like that, what we see is adiponectin goes down, and so does insulin sensitivity. So there is a 1-to-1 correlation between adiponectin, so I'll just put A here, and then insulin sensitivity here, right? So the more adiponectin, it's funny to think about, like when it comes to triglycerides, when it comes to CRP, C-reactive protein, when it comes to leptin, you want lower levels generally speaking. But with adiponectin, you want higher levels. Higher levels are protective. And so studies have actually shown that, let me show you another one here. One of the cool things, and this is why you see us a lot, on this YouTube channel, James DiNicola Antonio, other people that we've had on the podcast, we talk a lot about omega-3 fats, fish oil, krill oil, all these compounds, because they've been shown to increase adiponectin. Again, increased adiponectin is very tightly correlated with what I just mentioned, blood sugar health in general. And so that's one of the reasons why these long-chain polyunsaturated fats in small amounts, like from krill oil, like from IFOS certified fish oil, monoglyceride fish oil, they do a great job at improving blood sugar health and supporting blood sugar health. One of the mechanisms might be by affecting adiponectin. So there's a lot of, this is a meta-analysis. There's a ton of research on using fish oil and how it affects adiponectin. So that's kind of, I guess, all I want to say about that. I mean, there's a bunch of different data out there on different polyphenolic compounds, curcumin, resveratrol, rosemary, things like that, that do positively and favorably affect adiponectin. But fish oil and krill oil are two natural compounds that can do that. Obviously, you can get omega-3s from grass-fed beef, and we recommend that. There's small amounts in potentially pastured eggs. Fish products contain omega-3 fats. We recommend them and promote them. You should be consuming wild-caught fish that's free range, if you can afford it, if you can get it, and so forth. But a lot of us are not consuming fish. We haven't been fish eaters. We don't live near an ocean. We don't fish ourselves. And so that's where fish oil comes in. The difference between fish oil and krill oil is the delivery system. I like krill oil, so we do have a new krill oil. I just launched this last week. It's called Clean Antarctic Krill. The form is a phospholipid bound. So what's unique about that, for some of you that don't have a gallbladder, for some of you that are new to low carb, high fat, and you have sluggish digestion, sluggish bile flow, you can use krill oil because of its absorption profile. So that's different. But other lifestyle strategies that can help you balance your leptin levels and adiponectin, good circadian rhythms. So just making sure that you're going to bed at the same time, that you're waking up at the same time, you're getting good sunlight. So remember, your body's circadian clock system is, your retina and the suprachiasmatic nucleus right behind your retina. Guess what? That is involved in training and optimizing your body's circadian rhythm. So that's important. Exercise, I can't stress it enough. When I move my muscles like this under load, what happens is it affects a myriad of different things called myokines, but the moving of your muscle belly helps with leptin sensitivity and leptin binding. So that's very important. I love resistance training. I love powerlifting. I'm doing my next competition in May, my second ever, which will be fun. So any powerlifters in the house, hit that like button. We love powerlifting around here. Deadlifting, squats, all that is so wonderful for your metabolic signaling pathways. So studies show this. So this was, I think, New England Journal of Medicine or the Journal of Internal Medicine actually showed this, that dietary change is great, but exercise combined with diet is super important. And I think is that all we got today, guys and gals? I think that's it. Let me see here. So how many folks we got on the feed here right now? So someone says Costco has. So Jimmy Lee has a great point. He says grass-fed is so deceptive. That's why we do recommend ButcherBox, because sometimes, as you know, we've talked about this many times, when you buy grass-fed beef, they can be given grass-fed pellets, which is totally messed up. So they're on a feedlot, these cows, eating grass pellets. And you're like, dude, they're able to call it grass-fed. So that's why we really do like butcherbox.com. They've been a show sponsor for a long time. There's a wonderful question right here from Dance1002-874 that says, what does autophagy do to leptin? Well, this is a really good question. Leptin is involved, and this is a conversation for another day. I might throw this in the leptin blueprint, actually. That's what I'm going to do. I'll make a video later today about how this works. So leptin is involved in AMPK signaling. AMPK signaling is one of these autophagy enhancing pathways. So keep that in mind. So there is a correlation there. Not too many studies have been conducted in humans showing correlations between autophagy level and leptin and all that sort of stuff. But long story short, there is a mechanistic connection there. It's a little complicated. We probably won't talk about it today, but that's an awesome question. Dance10274, thanks for that question here. Reinventing My Life says, avoid Aldi and Walmart salmon. It's bought from China. Oh man. You know what? I mean, not to pick on Walmart, but do they really have the best food? I know everyone has different financial constraints, but who knows? Alina says, what about, she says, someone says, doesn't ketones lower leptin? Dude, thanks. You're just on it with these questions. That's the other slide that I have that I didn't show. So if you look here, this was from Dr. David Ludwig, and we just reviewed, we did a Facebook Live with him over on the Metabolic Health Summit page while in Los Angeles. And I, kind of did a summary of his research. And so this was the largest ever low carb versus low fat dietary study and longest ever. And what they found is low carb diets tend to have a suppressive effect on leptin elevation. And so that's one thing you need to keep in mind compared to other macronutrients. So absolutely, your macronutrients and your meal timing, one study has been shown in Ramadan fasting, your meal timing affects leptin release as well. So Ramadan fasters, when they kind of pivot from eating breakfast to then dinner, their leptin levels change. So keep that in mind. And so there's this study as well. This is a review from David Ludwig's. And if anyone is listening or watching and they want to link that in the live chat bar for folks, I would be super grateful. That's on our playlist with David Ludwig, which was, I had a lot of fun chatting with him and everything like that. Pandu grass-fed pellets. It's crazy to me. I don't even know how they're able to get away with that. So It's a crazy world we live in, don't we? So friends, I think that's it for today, and I have some great interviews coming for you. As always, I'm so grateful that you were here. If you're watching the replay, I'm sorry about those connectivity issues where the Wi-Fi bandwidth was going down and you guys couldn't hear me. I'm sorry about that, but Jimmy Lee says, don't buy meat from China. But I'm just super grateful that, that you're here. So yeah, DBJMK says, what are your powerlifting PRs? All right. So this is a wonderful question, and I'm just going to answer it very honestly. My squat and my deadlift are pretty embarrassing, to say the least. So my bench press, last time it was 265. And again, that was my first powerlifting competition I've done. And I think I dieted down too much. My deadlift was 330, and my squat was 295. But I got red lighted on my squat because I didn't rack it right. I just like jumped the rack where you know, the judge tells you to go, you squat and everything. So my deadlift and squat, I don't know, I've hurt my back so many times squatting that I'm so reluctant. I have like a longer spine and my femurs are long, so it's hard for me to get deep and sit in the hole. And I feel like I am never gonna get out of there. So I can sumo deadlift a reasonable amount. The most I've ever sumo deadlift was 495 in college. Shortly after that, I wrecked my back, and I wasn't natty, if you will, during that time. And so since hurting my back then, I just can't go under load. When I was playing high school football, the most I ever squatted was 350. But I could do 315 for 5 sets of 5. But now it's like, I can barely get like 275 for 5 sets, you know. So anyway, guys, super grateful that you were here. Paul Thomas says, with OMAD too skinny. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like for my strength, me personally, I have to have several meals a day. And so I'm fasting right now for Metabolic Monday. Shout out to all of you that are fasting for Metabolic Monday, but it can be hard strength with fasting. So anyway, guys, super excited. Jimmy Lee, how often do we do live streams? You know what? We do at least once a week. And I was pretty consistent with Thursdays, and then we used to do every Saturday morning. And then sometimes we do Sunday. I think I'm just gonna start doing them on Metabolic Monday. And then if we can throw in another one in there. But what's different about these live streams is I try to teach you stuff. Like, it's not just me sitting here talking. I mean, I am sitting here talking, but I like to get the whiteboard involved, and I like to share with you information about science. So I definitely like to get your questions as well. But I feel like if you're gonna spend some time with me, I wanna reward you with cool stuff. And so I'm always researching, talking with scientists and everything like that, and I wanna just help you understand this information. So someone says, yes, at 50, don't deadlift, you will be sorry. Yeah, it really depends. Jim G in the house says, inflammation from intense workouts. So it's an inflammation that's controlled. So periodization is great, right? Like, no inflammation is not good. But when you exercise, you release inflammation, you create inflammation, you create damage, and your body repairs itself. So it's when we have this chronicity. Chronic training all the time, exercising all the time is bad. But exercising for a confined period of time periodically is healthy, right? So there's a balance to everything. And so that's what we're here to do. Connie says she has less than 2 hours for her Metabolic Monday fast. Heck yes, Connie, keep it up. That is awesome. So grateful, guys. So I am super excited that you're here. Thanks so much, as always, for being here. Thanks for hitting that like button. And don't forget to use the promo code Leptin to save on some things that will help your body's metabolism, guys. I've been in the supplement business for 13 years. I started MYOXCIENCE to help you to leverage relationships that I have so that you can save money on some really effective supplements. I want you spending your money on real food. I want you spending your money on taking your spouse or your partner or your kids out to dinner, doing fun stuff. And I don't want you blowing your bank on supplements. So we are really reasonable with pricing, especially compared to what's out there. And from a material standpoint, from a delivery system standpoint, from stability standpoint, these are top-notch things that I'm supplying to you over at MYOXCIENCE.com. So if you take supplements, I think you'll like some of the things that we're offering because they're very effective. They're vetted. I personally handpicked them, and I'm excited to share them with you. So super grateful that you are all here. Hope you have a great rest of your day or week or evening, wherever it is for you. We'll catch you on the next video. Thanks so much as always, guys, and sorry for all the live streaming shenanigans. All right, we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Have a good one.